Guess who's late to stream again? It's me, the streamer. Where am I going? Here. Sorry. I'm back. It's been the normal amount of time. I swear I hit this some dang boulder every time I make this trip. Shift. Does this mean we have to walk all the way to Ragni from here? Not far, it's just a straight path. Go check for it's moving. Okay. But did I? Sorry. I'm back. It's been a while. We're on a different server today. We're on Wynncraft, which is also a pretty cool server. And we're just going this way. Sorry I'm late. Hi. Hello. Can I hit him? That's annoying. Back. There we go. Oh, they're following me. I got confused. Hello? Hello? How are you guys? Sorry I was late. I got distracted. I was eating jello. And wait, how do I get in? Shift. What? Now we can see what Rin is really like. Find out if it's sort of true. Here we go. This whole point. Book. Guest book. No. Hold on. Oh, this is pretty. I don't want to listen to them speak. I just want to walk around. Oh, there's a war. My brother wants to know. Hi! Hi, spicy brother. Soda, what are you... Okay. I accidentally skipped all the text. Oh, what's down here? Hold on. Parkour. Can I want to hit it? These guys are slow. Loot. I don't think we were supposed to go that way. Hold on. Where are you going? Don't leave us. Oh, I have trust issues. This way. That's it. I'm trying to read, but my brain's not working today. How do I? Oh, well, can't use that. This, apparently. That's stupid. Where are we going? Bye. Identify your broken object. Oh, to this guy. That makes sense. Definitely. I don't. What the fuck does that say? I'm confused. I have a talk deck. I have a feeling I'm supposed to be following the signs and the path, but I really don't want to. Oh. Oh! I just jump. Sound like a tree. Don't fall off the edge. I reckon. Oh, we all have amnesia, apparently. Huh. Oh my god, we don't need to... Sorry, I'll come back over here where you're taking forever. What do you want? Oh, I was correct anyways. It's right. Ugh. Jesus. I have played the first chapter of Poppy Playtime before. I never finished it. I used to watch it a lot, though. I don't much anymore. Just because, I don't know. I got a little bit bored, but that's because I get bored of a lot of things very easily. Especially games that don't have, like, organic, playing paths. Sorry. My words are not coming out today. Oh, I got a wood thing. Oh, I got Jesus. I got Jesus. What is this? Oh, I can shoot things. Oh, there's dead people. Oh, this is fun. Whee! Am I gonna die? Okay, I can't move anymore. This is a zombie. I think I missed something since it keeps saying that we need to check out an identifier and a bridge. I'm pretty sure we did that. Huh. That's fun. This way. Anyone else have a bad feeling? Yes. This seems like a good spot for a mob fight. I mean, a boss fight. Oh, shift. Oh, no. Oh, I was right. Can I just hit it with this? Yes. There we go. That's way easier. Get a beating stick. Is there anything around here? I wanna look around. Don't make me do stuff. You know, like, that's the entire... We're in streamer mode, and yet the chat is still so chaotic. Wait, this is where playing COD years ago helps. Wait. Careful, looks like there's more undead. Well, I have eyes too, man. Not that stupid. There we go. Easy. Easy. Oh. Oh, he's definitely bleeding. There's a cave in. Hey. Oh, wait. What am I supposed to... Wait, what do I... What am I supposed to do? Can I look at my... Hold on. Wait, what am I supposed to do? Oh, that makes sense. Home. Right, left, right. I was close enough. Wait, did I take my hat off? Oh, that's annoying. Right, left, right. What? Holy shit. What's that? Oh, I can't fight them. Oh, shit. I still supposed to be running? Yes. They're blowing things up. Wow. Oh, I was supposed to move. Huh. Just got everyone's. It's straight ahead. Nice. I feel like I should be reading the chat, the text, like the game chat, but honestly, it's confusing me too, so. Can I just kill the chicken? These people are just tired of watching me walk around killing chickens. It's like Legend of Zelda all over again. Whee! Talk to the king. Talk to you. Damn, look at those knives. This way, probably. Yeah. What's your absolute favorite horror game? Oh, God, that's a good question. I play a lot of... Oh, God. I play a lot of Phasmophobia and, like, Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. Which, they're not super good quality horror games. Especially, like, Spooky's not a good quality one. But... You know what? It's one of my favorites. Okay, which way's left? Oh, hold on. Look at the Wind Province. This is the most notable fort of Regni. One of the oldest influentials. Top monsters. Good luck. Okay. Just good luck. That's what he was saying. We played... What? Have you played the normal game? No. I'm gonna say no because I have no idea what that means. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I haven't. The anomaly game. No, I haven't. I will look at it though. It sounds interesting, but I haven't played it. Where am I going? Remember? Oh, killing thing. Yes. No, I haven't played it, but I'll look into it. That sounds really cool. Though. Whew. Tired. Like, here. Do I have paper? I'll write that down really quick. Because I know for a fact I'll forget otherwise. Alright, I wrote that down. I'll look into that after stream. That sounds cool. What? Okay, I got concerned because those guys just ran straight at me. Bam, bam. Okay. I don't actually know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Whee! Objectives. Slay mobs. Discoveries. Ooh. I don't know what that is. Leggings. I have a feeling that our inventory is going to be extremely messy very fast. This map is actually very beautiful. Yes. Actually, I do play a lot of FNAF too. I do know what you're talking about, because, oh my god. What is it? It has, like, I have it on my... It has, like, night stars and stuff on it, doesn't it? I've been waiting to play Night Stars for a while, but I haven't yet, just because kind of waiting. I don't know why, but I still really want to play it. I have it downloaded. I just haven't got around to playing it yet because I have a bit of a longer list of games. I just haven't got around to playing it. Here. I feel like I'll die if I go in here, so we're gonna walk straight in. Wait, there's more chests up here. That was number 2. The barrel. Oh, I actually already have Tiny Glade in my cart. That's one I've been watching for a long time. Actually, it's been a couple months since I've had Tiny Glade in like my wish list stuff. That's one I was looking forward to for a long time. Or I'm still looking forward to. It's just one that I've been watching for a long time. Because I'm not good at keeping up with social media, but I'm on the emailing list and stuff. That's not the place I want to go. Where am I? I'm gonna go over here. Thank you. Oh, hi, Elijah. I am Jasper. Nice to meet you. I have to pay for this? Oh. And this way again. For you. To be honest, I did not read any of that. Why have I gotten so... Can I just walk in? No, I can't. This way. Where was the cave we were in? I feel like it was over here. Is that your little brother? Sorry. For some reason, my brain just might have clicked. Yeah, okay. That makes sense now, for some reason. Oh. Everything I get, I can't use. I don't even know what level I'm at. I'm at 3. We have pants now. More pants. There's a horse. Whose horse is that? Horse. Emerald merchant, no. No, I don't want your shark loans. Back to the cave where we're just gonna get brutally just have our asses handed to us. I keep getting slowness. And it's so annoying. I don't like having slowness. Be fat. Okay, it's back over here. Sign is annoying. Begin. I think my favorite thing is just attacking the chickens. so tiny. Back over to the... What? Every emoji? Nice. Don't worry, I'm just as confused. I have no idea what you mean by that. Okay. Ability tree. Ooh. Wait, do I get another one? No, I don't. Me. I'm sorry, what? Yeah. That I was not ready for. Oh, I just hit someone. Shit. I'm gonna run away. It was me. I need to level N4 unused. Right click. Who's right? Hold on. I'm always right. There we go. My brain is stupid. Okay, wait. I don't know how to use this page. Next page. Hold on. What are ability points? Oh. Do I have any more? No, okay. I just wanted to be fast. Okay. What's this one? This is Wynncraft, which is a Minecraft server. Which is... Oh, okay. I can't remember who owns it. Oh no, it's a group of people. It's a good server. Yeah. I think this looks cool. I am on Java. So. I think I also have... That is not what I wanted. Oh, I don't have shaders. Fuck off. Sorry. Damn chickens! I was gonna say, I think I have shaders on, but I don't. Usually I have shaders on. But I think they might have turned it off when I logged on. Because it has texture packs built in. I still need, like, more of these. I have lost where we were, getting killed a lot. Oh, wait. Ow. I didn't know that thing could attack back. Whoa. I cannot deal with them. They're not that bad. They're slow. Okay. I was not expecting that to happen. There's more of them. Ow. Where was the there? Okay, it didn't drop anything. That would be cool. We are down players in the D&D server right now. So we are down players, but that's we'll find some more eventually. Did I just want a fireball? No, potions of healing. It's on Discord. It's not in person. Oh, there's a donkey. Donkey. Oh, it's. Oh, it was also gonna try and kill me. That sucks. Eh. Okay. I don't know why I keep walking into things that look like zombie cults and almost dying. I should just stop it. French. Who is this? Oh, not good. Okay, hold on. Right now, I'm rolling a fucking 1 for damage. Holy shit, I'm doing nothing. Can I hit him from here? No, okay. We're just gonna go back to the city and try not to... Oh, I found where I'm supposed to be. Okay. If I'm in the right spot, maybe I won't get my ass handed to me. I probably still will, but we need to go this way. This way. We're fighting someone's brother? Oh shit. Hello. You're bald. I have something that could help you. Help me with something. Oh, I'm looking for shrooms. Shit. Oh yeah. Let's go look for drugs. What is this? I don't know what that is. Oh, that's a guild. The identifier. Can you identify my pants now? Oh. How does that work? Starch. This equipment sucks. It's not very good, is it? Oh. Huh. Cowbell. What is this? Oh, am I supposed to use that? Hold on. Wait. What is up here? Wait, why do they have stairs? Ooh. Oh, there's a chest up here. Oh yeah. Untradeable. Okay. That is a dick. Dick. Oh no, it's a mob. Weird. What am I looking for? I forgot. Oh, you can throw stuff? Look like a fucking... Oh god. You guys know those rusty dogs that every basic white girl has? And I say that because I also have one of those crusty dogs. That's what that looks like. Oh. That's the crust dog of fucking shrooms. I swear, if being on drugs is like this, I don't want to do drugs. Jesus Christ. 1 second you're like, haha, let's do shrooms. The next second you're fighting for your life in a mushroom cavern trying to find fucking, we don't even know what kind of mushroom. Found it. Get down and shoot last night. Ooh, nice, nice. Where was I looking? Wait, can I be faster? Oh, do I have to? Okay. I need to be in town. I just want to be fast. Shift. Have a mushroom. Climb these stairs. Who knows? There's something up there. Take this ring. I have no idea what you just said. I accidentally hit it too fast. Whoopsie. Wait, can I just scroll up? No. Oh. Can I wear this? Cook assistant? That seems like a lot of work. What is that? The sun rises, you feel safer. Okay, that's threatening. You play Stardew Valley. I do have Stardew Valley. I don't play often. But I do have Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is pretty cool. It would be fun, actually. I would love to play Stardew Valley. Fun. I heard the follow sound, but it's not showing me like who followed or anything, so I'm just gonna assume it's you. So thank you for following. All of my notifications are broken. Thank you. Okay. I have Stardew Valley, but I'm a horrible player. I don't understand how it works, which is stupid. It took me so long to learn how to play Minecraft because I basically grew up playing Call of Duty, and that was about it. And everything was just so different. Okay, we're back here. What am I supposed- Okay, you. You guys are like less than a kilometer away from each other. Why don't you just do it? Can start. Good luck history. Wait, which one did I just do? Sewers. What one do we want to do? Sewers, plants, cook assistant, or poisoning pests? Yeah, I don't know which one I want to do. I think I want to wear the ring. Or to do cook assistant just because I want to wear the ring. Do I have enough to identify these people? Or wand. We get wands? Shit. Okay. What's this? Ingredient pouch. And I still wait. Okay, I'm not even that class. I'm a shaman. I can't use that. Where do I sell things? Blacksmith. Sell items here. I can't use it. Sell it. Scrap. Sell. Paradise. Is there anything else I can't use? What's my favorite animal? That's raccoons. I love raccoons and opossums. They're my favorite. No, raccoons and opossums are my favorite, and I'm sad I legally can't own one as a pet. Legally. Yes, I love the garbage man. It's my favorite thing is if there was ever... Where's the straw? Hold on. Where's going in here? Fuck. Oh shit. I don't want to deal with that. You deal with that. If... What am I supposed to be doing? If there were more types of griffins, I would want to see a raccoon raven. Because I feel like that'd be the fucking greatest thing. Or a opossum, seagull. Because that would be great. Imagine, like, having fucking oven mitt and a broom trying to defend yourself from a raccoon seagull. That would be hilarious. We're going this way. Okay. I was like, what is that sound? That is... I think that's me. Hold on. I had music in the background and I didn't want a bunch of music playing here. Okay. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to make sure the audio wasn't absolute garbage, because I've had streams where it is complete shit, and I didn't know about it. Or that I forgot to turn my mic on for. Oh, I can't fight him. Shit. Moving on. This way. I've done entire streams without my mic on, and I find out after, and I'm just like, oh my god! Stupid! Like, no, I'm not. I'm just... You start checking. And I was late for today's stream because I got a phone call when I was trying to set up. And I was like, ugh. Sucks. That is terrifying. Leave me alone. Why are there so many zombies in your damn cornfield? Get different fertilizer. The fuck? He stopped. I can grab coins. He knows we broke bitches and he respects that. Up. Again! You stay down there. I'm killing the cow. I don't want to kill the cow. I need the cow. I need a bucket. Okay. Where was I? Here. Bored farmer. Okay, I can help with that. Shift. Egg. Milk. Wheat. Okay. I need a gathering rod and a scythe. And then merchant Toyota. Okay. Why do I keep just getting attacked? I can't stop shit when I'm almost dying. Hold on. Ah. Stop. Leave me alone. No. Stop. Okay, there's no chest over here, and I want the chest. Where's the chest? Chest. Oh, there it is. Eee. Doo-doo. Bucket merchant, I found him. How many did I need? 1 bucket of milk, okay. And then I need 2 eggs and... Wait, how do I... Oh, I just have to keep clicking it, okay. Woo! Wait, I want to watch that again. Hold on. Oh, it just goes up in the air. Wait, no, do it again. No. No, no. Let me steal your wheat. There we go. What? Need. How many wheat grains do I have? Do I have enough? Hold on. Wait, do I have the wrong thing? How do I process wheat? What? Hold on. Where's the board farm? Egg. Kill chicken. Then right. Why? Have fun doing what you're doing. Right. Bye, spicy. Bye. Have fun. Okay. I don't remember where's no, I'm missing something. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh no. Back up. Back up we go. Where do I get wheat? Merchant. Throw it in here. You want me in here? I'm stupid. Hold on. I can't figure out what I'm doing. Butcher. Can I steal stuff from people's houses? Can I? Ah, I can. I can't. That sucks. Oh, that's a window. Whoops. It's also a window. Oh, I can jump out this one. Wait, where do I process wheat? Like... And going. My day's going pretty good. I got up. I started streaming. Yeah, that was about it. Oh, I think I was clicking wrong. Why? Which way's right? Okay, I was doing it wrong. I was just doing it wrong. Okay. Yeah. How was your day going? Here we go. Faith bundles teaching. What time is it? Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember meeting you. I have a very poor memory. You seem pretty okay. I just wait. Artsy. And go back. No, wait. Nice. I forgot where the city is. Where's the city? Why is there so many zombies in this area? Jesus. Okay, it's this way. This way. have a good night. Hope to see you again around here eventually. Do 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 do. How do I get? Where's the beak? Okay, probably. Apparently not. Who are you? This. Energy? Magic. Energy or magic? I don't know. Where is the baker? Here. Yes, here. Great, you got the ingredients. Can't think enough. Here, take these emeralds and armor for all your trouble. To explore and become stronger. Here, there might be work to go woods. Nice. Apron? Did I get an apron? Nice. Okay. I need to stop by the identifier again. Come on back, weird purple man. Just wait. Exploding? Hold on. What else? Identified. Ring. First steps. Cook assist. Nice. Can't do that, can't do that. There was a box. Gotta figure out how to... Ooh! Shit, that's cute, actually. I like that. We're gonna fix our armor really quick. Pants. We're switching out. Pants suck. And then we need... Where's the gold thing? Can I use it? Yeah. I like this one. Then you need to find someone who will sell stuff to, or someone. Is there an armory on this bank? Store items. Can I store like non? Oh, I can. Oh, this is for all accounts. Oh. I have stuff stored here for my other account that probably explains things. That means we have plenty of... Is there anything in here we need? I feel like we should save those. Yeah, that sounds about right. What's this on the ground? 2 unused ability points. Okay, ability points are these ones, I think. Ability. Defense. Ability. Defense. We're gonna do dexterity really quick. Armory. 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 Armory? Pearl merchant, can I sell stuff to you? No. Weapons merchant, can I sell stuff? Can I go upstairs and sell stuff? Where can I sell stuff? I don't want it. Can I just sell it to a blacksmith? Probably. Those ones. Like that one. Cooler. Can't use it. On it. On it. On it. And do I need anything else? No. I'm gonna throw some other stuff in the bank really quick though before we go back out. the weapons merchant. Bank keys over here. We go like this. Put all of our stuff on page 2. Here. Need Bumblebee. There we go. Awesome. Solve that issue. Now we're just go this way again. Sorry. Sorry. I was eating before and I just haven't finished yet. I'm still working on my food. I was distracted, I was talking, but just these I think they're stuck. This way! Weep, whoop, weep, weep. Whee. Currency, and then level 7, okay. We're just gonna keep grinding. Grinding time. I feel like there should be a, whatchamacallit, I wanna pick a mining. What you call it? Not a coin pouch, but like a little pouch where I can store all my money. My money. Money. So I can have more space in my inventory. Because it has been reduced quite a little bit. That's fine. Then, okay, wait. Right click. The gem. I'm gonna do my left click first. Level 10. Can't do that one. Oh, I could only get one piece. I go further and see if I can get it. Hopefully. I think I just got another ingot, but it's okay. No way. And I feel like there's more. Like, I feel like there's more ore. Just can't find it yet. Here. It's there. That's a tunnel. That goes down. I bet. I bet there's more. I can't get it yet. Oh, I just come back after. The idiot. I still can't get that, so that sucks. Whee. is this? Gathering food. Why did I just get slowness? I feel like I did something stupid. What did I do? Ouch. Yeah, I feel like there should be a little pouch where we can. Nice. I was gonna sell stuff. Hold on. Ah. I sell this. I have no use for it right now. So, 18 emeralds. Holy shit, that's actually really good. Hired mercenary. That is not concerning at all. I finished my quest, and I feel like I should do quests. I don't know what kind of quests I want to be doing. Ah. Sorry, I'm moving my mic closer. I feel like it's too far away. I don't want to be like yelling into your ears, but also I don't want to be like I want to make sure you can hear me. There we go. Ow. Let's move. Hello. Do 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 do. Ow. Up the way. Okay. I know it's not one of you again. I don't care about the sewers. Leave me alone. I don't have to kill you so many times. Oh, it's a key to get into the sewers. I think the game wants me to go into the sewer. I'm pretty sure that's what it's hinting at. Weep whoop weep whoop. I'm being shot at. Shoot me. I'm a good guy. Whoa, that looks cool. Let's go this way. Oh, I can't have the wand? Oh, that's stupid. I didn't even mean to be clicking on the wand. I didn't see that it was something I couldn't have. Okay, I feel like I've stumbled into a place that I shouldn't be. Womp womp. Why are their heads sideways? They look funny. No offense, but like that looks funny. Shit. I keep opening on my inventory on accident. Wee. I just noticed I don't have like a full bar of HP. For some reason, I've just noticed that. This way. I don't know. What is this? Oh, that's... I don't think I should go in there. I think that's what's spawning these guys. Hard. I feel like if I don't go and investigate it now, it'll be gone in a couple minutes. So, sunrise. I want to see what's in it. Inside. Wait, nothing too fun. Okay, what the fuck is that? I want to kill it. Just to say that I did. Why are there so many emeralds? Hold on. I think I've achieved something. Or did something important. I don't know what I'm doing. This might have something to do with the event. Well, I don't remember where that was, so whoopsie. But do I have a point? I have 4? Alright. Who the identifier? The identifier. I want to see what if I have anything we need identified. Gotta get rid of that. Oh, it's a shaman! Oh, I got another bumblebee. Is it exactly the same? No, this one's worse. Okay. That's not that unique. I'm gonna make sure I don't accidentally sell the wrong bumblebee, otherwise I'm gonna be really sad. Wop wop wop. Sell items. 1, 2. I want to scrap bumblebee. Don't want that. Don't want that. That. Try that for now. Grab that, and I don't think I can scrap that. That. Okay, that's the one. Got 3 scrap. Can I repair anything? No. And then we need to go to the green building. Do it. I don't remember. Throw everything in there for now. Because all we are doing is messing around. I need to stop attacking citizens. Whoopsie. Yeah, thank you. Click here to thank them. Give thanks you. The guitar pick. They are on my desk. If you go onto my desk in my room, guitar picks should be in a long glass container. If not, entertain stream for a second and I'll grab them for you. Doo-doo. Zombies. Attack zombies. Keep ending up back this way. Okay, it did disappear. We can go investigate it now. Okay. I am literally helping you. Stop shooting me. I go that way. Look at all my friends. Oh. Now this is what we call a grind. Oh, I leveled up. Yeah, I have Jello. Want Jello. Oh. Okay. Hold on. A bite of Jello. I have to move that. That's good fucking Jello. Oh yeah. Very good. Watch book. On a short quest. I want to do some, like, 2 more quests before we end. It'll be like half an hour or something. So who knows? Talk the Opa at negative 316.72. 60,000. Wee. Which way are we going? We're going this way. So, what was I talking about earlier? I don't remember. But I am going to try and stream more often. As I'm taking a bit of a smaller break. Like, only ever doing... Holy shit. I'm only ever really doing YouTube. Gotta try and slow down on just doing YouTube a little bit. You know, I haven't been posting often because I've been getting hella melancholia lately. So hello, traveler. I want to do voices. Hello, young traveler. Recently, I was bit by a spider. Can you believe it? I know, shocking. Anyways, I'm not fit myself enough to venture into an infested cave full of creepy crawlies to get the medical herb to cure myself. But you look like you work as a soldier of sorts. We can clearly see that. You soldiers have never had fashion as your strong suit. Okay, offensive. Anyways, that cave is a bit further away from us, but the only thing in the way is through the rooftops. I started building up a way to this tree just behind me. Good luck. Okay, first of all, fuck you. I don't want to now, but Jesus. You didn't have to go and immediately call us all have bad fashion sense. Hey, we wear armor for stats, not looks. Unless we do wear it for looks because it has good stats. Okay. Holy shit, lag. Oh, that was painful. Is that a rook? Help. Help me, mercenary. It's hard to get up when there's so many spiders. This is the new high. Okay, am I just falling on the carpet? This is like the new high pixel lobby parkour. But with so much more lag. Holy shit. Down. Down? Oh, that's gross. Oh no. Stop it. Oh no. What am I looking for? I want to get out. Okay, I'll go back to the shroom cave. I won't complain. Oh, it's a maze. It's a maze. I hate mazes, man. No, no, Bumblebee. Fuck. Bumblebee. B. Help me. Bumble. Right click, hold on. I don't have a free hand. What I'm looking for? Why can't I? I leave now. Okay. Can I go out this way? I can't. I've located it. Just get me out. I don't like this. Bring it up. Okay. Let me get my book. How do I get back up there? I've got it. Just get me out, please. I don't wanna... Do I need more? Ugh. Nothing else in this cave. Let me leave. Am I supposed to walk out that way? I have it. Let me... Okay, I'm just illiterate. Okay, we're moving on. I think I'm gonna lag out. Holy shit. I've still been or maybe not, at least 5 minutes. Thank you. Even though it took a while, I'll give you a small reward. Oh, fuck you. Take that money, head to that list, wouldn't ya? Better clothing, because you need it. Oh! How rude. Stop. Hey, you guys are rude too. I might use my teleport scroll just to get out of here, because I am struggling. Oh my. Oh. Which way? I hope to God this doesn't crash the stream. Because we're at like 2 FPS. Holy shit. Okay, I just want to look at the sign. Okay, well, let's go this way. I've never been to Dallas. Okay. Boot chest, thank you. Powder Master. What? Okay. Makes sense. Definitely. Oh shit, there's a beehive. Oh, I have dead bees. Disgusting. Holy shit. Oh, the lag. I'm just gonna go back in this Powder Man's hut. And pray that we get left alone. By pray, I mean not really. I'm gonna stand in the corner and cry. I don't have my teleport scroll. Made a mistake. Mushroom Man. Mushroom. I wanna go Mushroom Man. Mushroom Man. Mushroom Man. Whatever should it mean? It means you've lived a life of sin. Alright. All the way to Mushroom Man. Let's go. And this is gonna be the last quest for today. Why are the zombies getting harder? Suburbs. This is your suburbs. This is sad. If it's suburbs. Oh, those. Oh. Sis. How far is this Mushroom Man? My lord. Yeah. We're gonna ignore that for now and just keep going towards the Mushroom Man. Whee! Dead list. Do you think they, oh, these apples! Oh, that's cool. Wait, is there another castle? Holy shit. We're just gonna keep walking. Eventually, there will be some sort of guards. And they can deal with that. Okay. Then we'll go where? ticket master? Can I go without a ticket? Or to ignore that. That confuses me. I actually need you yet. Drink it. Okay. I die? Where am I? Did he just bug me? Human, you ate the bowl. Painted soda. I think he brought you my mushroom home. Fix your mistakes. Give me ground mushrooms or red mushroom spores for more logs. Right click the logs with mushroom. Ah! Bugged me. Wait, how do I get mushroom? Oh, where's this man's house? I should have read what we were getting into before we did that. That's not good. Well, this seems like a good place to end stream. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. Have you watched Harry Potter? I have watched Harry Potter, actually. I've watched a lot of Harry Potter. I think I've read all the books. I kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think it's the worst of this one. Oh my god. I was just gonna end stream. So. Oh, that was funny. I have no idea what I'm doing. What are these hearts? I'm hoping that wasn't just me. Hold on. But yeah, just hold on one second. Doo-doo-doo. Ah, thank you guys for watching the stream. Hopefully, I will see you guys back here soon. I'm trying to stream more often, so hopefully I'll see you guys again. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!